I've made it 2 years at Bent Tree. This is my second presentation. And to get things out of the way, I am a little bit off today. I am struggling with Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy, some of you might have experienced before. It's a condition where a virus in your body attacks the nerve that controls the muscles of the left side of your face. It is a temporary condition. I do have the chickenpox virus, probably the shingles in me, and Lord knows what the new China virus is doing to all of us. So I've had it for 11 days, and this is the second time I've had it. I had it in 2016, so it's rare you get it twice, but call me special. It doesn't hurt. My lips don't work. My eye doesn't work. My ear doesn't work. But like I said, it is temporary. Last time it lasted 3 weeks. So I come to work every day and battle through. And as God says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So I wouldn't miss today for the world because I like talking about all the accomplishments that we've had. After 2 years at Bent Tree, I do bring my own cooler to the meetings now. So it's full of water, and as long as I keep my mouth wet, we're all good. I'm gonna ride my presentation today, and hopefully everybody will get a lot out of it. I've been at Bent Tree 2 years. Recently ate lunch with a mentor of mine, and he said, "Jim, every opportunity teaches you new things as a leader. What has 2 years at Bent Tree taught you or changed you as a leader?" And it's easy. I had become more flexible and more adaptable as a leader. And it is because we are a community of residents, like many of you, that are involved with volunteerism, involved in the community and care about the community. Before I ran an operation where they said, "Jim, you make the decisions and you make it great, and we'll stay out of your way." That's not Bent Tree. And that's how Bent Tree has changed me as a leader. So it's truly a team approach of how things operate at Bent Tree. Together, each accomplishes more. In my presentation today, I wanted to start out because after 2 years of being here, I've learned what Bent Tree is. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to go through 30-something slides to tell you how I've become more adaptable and flexible. Lake and Wildlife and our leadership, Rick Patterson, Brian Vassar, and the team, thank you. Land and Development, Tony Young and team, thank you. Bent Tree Activities Committee, Dave Stewart and team, thank you. Youth Vest, Susan Kahn and team, thank you. Golf and Greens, Charles Rice and team, thank you. Architectural Committee, Fred Macklem and team, thank you. The Courts, Brad King and team, thank you. The Stables, Mark Krasner and team, thank you. Elections Committee, Margie Robinson, Sandra Stewart, thank you. Keep Bent Tree Beautiful, Andy Kidd and team, thank you. 28 Acres Initiative, Larry Carmichael and team, thank you. Land and Development, Land Bank Initiative, Robert Calhoun and team, thank you. Sharp Top Property Initiative, Calvert Huffines and team, thank you. Fire Department Initiative, Artie Allen and his team, thank you. Food and Beverage Initiative, Michael Kahn and his team, thank you. Amenities Initiative with the Private Pass, Charles Rice and team, thank you. Stables Think Tank, Ralph Morrison team, thank you. Habitat Conservation Plan and Committee, Rick Patterson and team, thank you. And Dara, I'll get to that in a minute when we talk about accomplishments. I got an answer for your update. Learning Tree Committee and team, Mary Lou Wang. Lake Tamarack Recreation Area Master Plan, Rick Patterson and team, thank you. Animal Shelter Board, Luann Chambers and team, thank you. Benevolence Fund Committee, John Micah and team, thank you. And this kind of gets swept under the rug a lot, but benevolence, awesome. Our employees, not general manager, but our employees get a little Christmas break and gift as a gift from our residents, and that is awesome. Thank you all. Thank you so much for your generosity in helping the lives of our team. Bent Tree Foundation, Gerald Hunter and team, thank you. Board of Directors, Buddy Creef and team, thank you. So, 33 committees, groups that meet constantly every day at Bent Tree to make this place better. And as general manager, I don't go to all those meetings. I let it happen. Flexible and adaptable to letting the community run the community and make things happen. That's how I've changed as a leader. But that tells you how big of a task this is, how big Bent Tree is, how involved Bent Tree is, and how it continues to thrive and happen. So that's what makes it a great place. As general manager, what I am concerned about is BTCI, the business, and how it operates. And I have a wonderful executive team that has been put in place that really helps the way we operate every day and serves the residents of our community. First to the left, we have Michael Corey, who is our Director of Safety, Emergency Management, and Compliance. Tari Darby, who is the Director of Marketing and Community Services. She handles the operations of all of our amenities. Of course, the good-looking guy in the middle, who hopefully will look like that again in a week or so. Melissa Leach, and all of you have dealt with Melissa. You know she's our CFO, Finance, Human Resources, handles our administration and finance. And finally, Ashley Brownell, who's our Director of Operations, who knows every inch of Bent Tree and how the water operates and how the roads operate and everything. This is an awesome team. This is of great value to our community. I work with them every day, and we try to know everything that's happening in Bent Tree, and we try to stay ahead of things instead of chasing things. And just what an awesome team, and it's wonderful coming to work every day with this group and the extension of those that work with them. So 2024, let's talk about some accomplishments and things that happened in 2024. First of all, we started out the year by doing a vision plan. This vision plan was actually kicked off in something that happened in 2023, which was the community survey that went out. We got a great response. We got a lot of input from the community, a lot of data. That formed a committee which created the vision. And the vision committee looked at our community and said, we have 5 major assets that are the backbone of our community. The golf course, Lake Tamarack, public safety, fire, EMT, water utilities, and the tavern. Those were identified in the survey as one of the main reasons why you all live here. Could be all 5 of them, could be 1 of them, could be 2 of them. But the majority of our residents came here and loved Bent Tree because of one of these 5 things. So those are the 5 kind of pillars that support our community. In the plan, we came up with, I believe, 16, 17 initiatives in different categories. And this is a 5-year vision plan. And many of these things are in action going. And I'm not going to read off all the initiatives because we're going to update them each year. But these are kind of the initiatives that we're striving for with committees and as the board acts each year. One of the initiatives for Lake Tamarack was the master plan, which I know is in process right now. Rick and his team is working on that. We're excited about that and how the recreation area around the lake is going to look one day. Lake dredging, been a big topic. Yes, we kicked the can down the road for a long time. It's an expensive project. When you talk about roads, water, and the lake, it's expensive. We are trying to find pricing. We do have a survey of the lake where we know the areas that need to be dredged. And one of the initiatives for the board in 2025 is going to be putting some pricing and some timeline and hopefully some financing plan behind the dredging of the lake. And then finally, the Habitat Conservation Plan. Lake and Wildlife was charged with creating a habitat plan, which you did. And the committee did a tremendous job. It's an awesome plan. They put the plan together. They sent it to staff and the board to evaluate. It got plenty of critique and plenty of comments. They changed the plan a little bit and they presented it to the board. Now, this is an operational plan. It is the plan of our community. It didn't have to be adopted. It is actually, it's been put in place. It's best practices. We like it. The board likes it. It's endorsed. So it's one of those things where we want the committee to go forward and make things happen. We do have funding for initiatives within the plan. So as things come up, that's when you come to the board and say, we want to do this, we need funding. We want to do that, we need funding. So it's just one of those things now. We want the plan to go forward. It is Bent Tree's habitat conservation plan, and we want to make it happen little by little. And we want your committee to continue to support that and educate the community. The big thing about it is it's a best practices plan, and it's how bent trees should operate, it's how residents should operate within your properties. So it's mostly educating the community. And I look forward to you rolling that out and us working on it little by little and seeing what we can do with it. Sorry I didn't communicate that better on the other end. Okay, 2024, we had money. We did some capital projects to improve the infrastructure of our community. And so talk about some things that got done. Our first project was the 19th Hall ADA Improvement Project. This made this facility ADA accessible with a new parking lot, a wheelchair ramp that led down to the tavern. We built an ADA accessible restroom. These plans were in for a while. And then we put a new stairway on the back side of the building, which brings you out on flatter ground. And since we put that in, we haven't had anybody fall and get hurt. So to me, it's working that way. So it's good. We also have 2 doors that enter the tavern that are wheelchair accessible or handicap accessible, where it's press button and the door opens and closes. So that project is finished, and we're excited about that. Making that facility ADA accessible also opens up and allows us to host tournaments to bring people in from the outside to generate extra revenue. The cottage. When I first came here, one of the things the board wanted me to do was look at the cottage and see if it needed to still be standing, if it is a benefit to our community. And it's rough. It's a 54-year-old building. It hadn't been maintained. Several people have lived in it. It's been multifunction for the community, but it is a good structural building. It has good bones to it. It has a good purpose. All those 33 groups that have to meet, plus BTAC and everything, we need places to meet. This building is the main cog for that, but a lot of times the admin office, the cottage, people want places to meet. I thought it was worth putting a little bit of money into it and renovating it. So last year we did what was called the external renovation of the building. It has a new roof. It has a new gutter system. We took the siding off the building, and we did have several water rottage points where we were able to replace the wood on the side of the building and put new siding on it. It has new French doors for entry. It has a new deck with an ADA wheelchair access. Before, if you were in a wheelchair, you had never gotten that building unless somebody picked you up and put you on the decking. So external is finished. On the left is the old one. On the right, with a little tree pruning, you have a beautiful new building. In 2025, we're going to do the interior renovation of it all. It is going to be a fine quality library, meeting space, bus stop, just a good benefit for the community to have as far as meeting space. The Spillway Bridge. This time last year, we came forward and said it was rotted, it was condemned, nobody can use it, it's falling apart. Instead of replacing the bridge in its entirety, we hired a group to come in and put 2 new steel beams in and build the bridge back around it. So it's a philosophical question. Is it a new bridge or not? Well, it's the same bridge, looks the same as it was before, but it's got all new pieces to it. It should last a while. And for those walking, you don't have to get your feet wet anymore. Road striping. While we're on a paving plan and we stripe as we pave, we also have a lot of mountain roads in this community, and as you know, with the fog, it gets very dangerous to drive. So it has been our initiative to try to get these roads striped with the fluorescent paint so it glows in the dark. We do have a striping machine. It is relatively small, relatively old. It's very difficult to operate. It is very slow because it does clog up when you put the reflector beads in there. We have a lot of paint. So starting off, we did Little Pine Mountain Road and Tamarack Drive. That's 8 miles of your main roads in this community. And we did contract it out to a state vendor who took care of it in a half a day. Alpine, Little Hendricks Mountain, Chestnut Cove, those were some side streets that we were able to do with our staff and the paint that we had. Takes a little bit longer, less traffic, so it doesn't take as many people, but we were able to knock those out as well. We'll continue to look to do some of the cul-de-sacs and side streets with our machine and our staff. The bigger roads we'll contract out. It's just more cost efficient and easier than blocking traffic and shutting down our roads. But we will continue to look to road stripe to get all the roads in the community up as we can and have the resources to do so. Our operations complex, during one of our tornado storm of 2023, we noticed that if we had a big storm, our waste center shuts down. Our cottage shuts down. The animal shelter pulls power off the cottage. It shuts down. Public safety did have a generator. It was relatively small, so we upgraded it. So we now have generators to support the waste center, the cottage, and public safety, and those are all put in place with propane. Last year we made some improvements to the tavern itself, in the kitchen and in the dining room. First, in the kitchen, we put the FRP board. That's what you see up here. It's very sanitary. It's very easy to clean. Before it was a brick wall, which is hard to clean. So very sanitary in there as far as I've got FRP board on around the walls. And we did buy some new equipment as well, some new cooking equipment that makes it easier. That's a combi oven, one of the most technological new advances in cooking, which has helped our kitchen staff produce food faster. In the dining room, of course, you see the new tabletops that make it a little bit more rustic looking, added a nice touch to it, took the cafeteria look a little bit out of it. And also the bar expansion that we've had that's been really, really popular because, hey, it's a tavern. People like to drink, and we have plenty of spaces at the bar now, and on many nights, you know, you're in there, those are the first seats that fill up. It's good. So it's been a welcome change, and we'll talk a little bit more about the tavern as we go through, but those are some improvements we were able to make last year. This is one of the biggest influential or impact projects that I think that we've had in our community. Function and appearance. That's what sells Bent Tree when people come here to look at this. If you are a pickleball player or a tennis player, you drive to the tennis courts now and you see this new pod that has 6 pickleball courts, beautifully painted, lined off, permanent netting. Wow, great place to play pickleball. We've got very nice tennis courts as well that are clay courts. Good product, well maintained. So I believe this is just a big impact project that happened. Next year we're going to be painting and lining the indoor center, cleaning it up a little bit, making it look good. Water line, main line replacement. Okay, our water line was built 54 years ago. It was small. Most fire extinguishers wouldn't work. So we have been on a process of laying a new 6-inch main water line through the community for years. Our staff does it internally. We buy the pipes. We operate the equipment. We can do 5,000 linear feet per year. And so we've been on a process of doing this. And again, last year our staff was able to lay the 5,000 feet. Unfortunately, with this project, you take care of the easy first and you do the hard last. And we are in the hard now. So there's a lot of rock, there's a lot of boring, and it's a process. But we're going to continue to go through. I believe we're about 80% finished with that work. So we have 20% left of that main water line to lay. But as we lay it, we put in new fire hydrants about every 500 feet. Those fire hydrants are fully functioning and tested. And so it's making big improvements to our community and our water system with this work. Alrighty, and then our signage. Michael Corey is always doing inspections within the community, trying to make our drive and roadways safer. Is putting up mirrors, signs, speed enforcement, and we were able to continue doing that through the year. We did look at putting up some guardrails that with the road shoulders we have, it's really not good for us to put those up because they're not safe anyway. And so our attorney has advised us not to put up those. But as far as we can do signage and speed enforcement, we hope to keep our roads a little bit safer. Our evacuation routes, we have 10 of them. I hope we never have to use them, but we inspect them monthly. We keep them clear, and should we ever have to use them, they are functioning. And now you have red signs out there everywhere to show you how to get to one if you need it. I'm sure nobody knows the whole evacuation route and where the closest one is, but now we've got some signage to help if that case ever comes up. Back to one of the projects that Brian and Lake and Wildlife was working on in conjunction with us, the Mulligan Creek. It's still in progress. It has been a year-long process. They did not want to work in August because it was too hot. And so as a reward, you got to work last week when it was too cold. So give or take. My staff said they'd rather work in the cold than in the hot. Yep. So thank you for that. That is a great improvement. You know, hey, if you got a lake, you're going to get sediment in it. But we're trying the best to control what we have in there and how much we have to dredge. Dredging's a necessary evil. We're going to have to do it. Do you want to do it every 10 years, every 20 years, or 30 years? So thank you for your work, and we believe in you and your knowledge of doing that.
Thank you too.
We had some big expenses for projects this year in our water treatment plant. We have 3 what we call basins where the water's pumped into it, cleaned, and sent to the tanks to go to your house. And we're taking the next couple of years and replacing the filtration system one at a time. About a $350,000, $400,000 project to replace all the filters in those. And so we are working on that. There was a 26-week lead time for the equipment. Now we have to have somebody to install it. And that project and the new pump controls for it will happen probably in January, February, March. We'll finish those off. So, operational highlights of 2024. We replaced 10 AED defibrillators. We have one in every building. There is one in this building. I don't know where it's at, but there is one in here, out here in the hallway. And out here in the hallway. And Josh Pitters, one of our residents, got a grant through Northside Hospital. So this was a $17,000 project that the hospital paid for. And we have all new defibrillators with all new parts to it. And again, I hope we never have to use them, but they're there in every building if we need it. Aquatics. Aquatics has always been a challenge with us. We have pools that are very old. The upper pool, we found the leak. We permanently patched it. The upper pool's in good shape. It has a new pump. The lower pool is in very bad shape. It has a leak that requires a temporary fix. And we do that every year. We don't know how long it's going to last. It does leak. We do cover it. We do protect it. We do try to patch it each year. But it's going to become a day where we're either going to have to do away with it or replace it. And that's coming in the future. But we do that. And with last year, we had a new operational setup with the pools. And I think it worked very, very well. So people seem to be happy with it. We had an open gas policy. We didn't want to pay someone $20,000 to collect $10,000 in revenue. So we saved that. And I was told a million times this would never work. It worked, and it worked great. If we had any problems, public safety was there. We had some pool people monitoring. We had concessions. The concessions didn't work so well. Ice cream was a big seller. Bottled water was a big seller. The others weren't. It kind of broke even. So next year we'll probably have concessions for like special events, maybe some ice cream in there, but we'll tone that back a little bit. But as far as the pool season, it seemed to be a big success. The Learning Tree program, it was offered the first time since 2019, and we had 5 sessions on Wednesday nights in May at the tavern. We had a full 30 register to come. I think it was a great program. Those that participated in it seemed to get a lot out of it. We had some great speakers and just learning about bent tree. And it's something we want to continue each year. Through this process, John Hoppe does a tremendous job. He videotaped part of it. He did some operational things about how that water plant operates that we have on our website, and it's very educational, and so it turned out to be a very, very good program with some good results coming behind it. Public safety programs. They continue to work with the community. They did a fall prevention class that was well attended, and of course Public Safety Day for first Saturday in October, which is always a big hit. And they had the life flight chopper come in. The kids love that. I know y'all are a big fan of Travis, so am I. Him and his grounds division are doing a great job. Every penny the board gives them is an investment in our community that improves something. And him and his group took the limited money they had and just did improvement projects throughout the community. The dog park, those of you that use the dog park, it's a noticeable improvement. We keep trying to regenerate the turf every year, so we have a good base year round for that. New stairs leading down to the beach. The basketball court was cleaned up. New grills around the pavilion. And Travis and his team will continue. They got projects set up for this year as well. Continue to improve some of our things. The ISO rating. That's something that usually comes every 2 years. With COVID, it kind of pushed it behind. So we haven't had it for a while. Our ISO rating in Bent Tree is a 2. 1 is the best you can get. I think there's maybe 5 departments in the whole state of Georgia that are a 1. We will never be a 1 because we don't operate and staff 2 fire stations. So that won't happen. So 2 is the best we can get. And that's what we have right now. Pickens County is a 5. And Talking Rock, I believe, is a 19. And that affects your insurance rates. They look at that. They may not tell you what discount you get right away, but the insurance companies know what your ISO rate is on your house, and if it burns, how quick somebody's going to get there to take care of it. So they came and did our inspection. We haven't got our rating yet. We do anticipate a 2 or a 3. We don't think we're going to go down because we do think we've improved since the last time. With some of the comments, so we should be getting that any day now. We do expect to keep it at a 2. Community marketing. Teresa's done a terrific job on the marketing aspect of things. We are trying to get out there to promote Bent Tree an hour down the road in Florida. Get out there and do that. That's a little bit harder than it takes. That takes a lot of resources to get out there. Everybody's heard of Big Canoe. Yes, I work at Bent Tree, 5 miles down the street from Big Canoe, because everybody's heard of Big Canoe. We want it to be Big Canoe 5 miles down the street from Bent Tree, and we'll get there one day. But with that and private pass, we are doing quite a bit of marketing. We do believe we've got the private pass down to a good market pricing level. Last year was the first year we set it up. It kept changing. It was hard to market. We didn't really find that price point. I think now going into 2025, we've got that price point and we can put a good marketing plan together. But Teree is marketing that hard, and we are marketing private pass more 20 to 25 mile radius for that. And we had 2 last year. We've gotten 3 applications this week for next year. So we do hope to increase that program. I think the goal next year is 20 or 25 members for that. The recycling center got some new signage, makes it a little bit easier to use. And storm emergency management. Boy, sometimes I think Bent Tree is snake bit. We have trees, they fall. We have storms, the wind blows. We have overhead power lines. Trees fall on them. They cause fires. They cause a mess. We have a power company that doesn't work for us. So we're relying upon them. We do what we can to help them in times of storms. We let them know where the issues are coming in, and we have staff and equipment ready. As soon as they cut the power off, we take the trees away. They can get the power restored. So we have to deal with that. It seems like July and August is bare every year. At least 2 years I've been here. Those have been the months that we've had the big storms. I think we manage it well. Michael Corey and his team do a great job communicating. They're in touch with the county and the county responders as well. And so we just try to maximize the communication and the support in those efforts to get it back on. I do get chewed out a lot during storms, and I tell you what, I got an easy line for you. When my cable TV goes out, I'm pissed off too. So, road culvert. This is something that as our roads division, we had a hard time hiring. We finally got it full, and this fall we were able to do a lot of work. If you notice upon Little Pine, across from the Mountain Breeze decaying house, we had a lot of culverts that have gotten very, very deep and started washing under the road. We don't want to lose our road infrastructure. So our roads team has worked very hard bringing rock material from the quarry and filling up that ditch, and then kind of even it out with the swale, planting grass in it with those. And you've seen a lot of along Little Pine, several areas of Little Pine, you've seen those shelters built up. That's helping preserve our road. Also, if you get off the road, you're going to end up in the ditch. We want less cars in the ditch with that, and so hopefully that'll help. We did get a beer truck stuck in the ditch this year. That was a rather interesting evening. That was no fault of ours. It's not always good. Sometimes we deal with bads, but sometimes we deal with challenges. Tavern, like I told you before, it's a challenge. There's a lot of factors in the tavern. We went through a really community debate this year about whether bringing in a third party. That was like a business decision that we had to work through with that and what we were going to do. Tari, who I hired to be our marketing person, and she does a tremendous job. She had a history in the restaurant business. She got out of that business. But she grew up in this community, she lives in this community, and she told me that she could take it over and she could do something with the tavern. And I said, are you sure you really want to get back into that? And she was like, I'm sure. For Bent Tree, I will do that. And she has done that, and the community's responded. We made some changes. We tried to, increase the staff and customer service. We tried to simplify the menu, tried to produce a quality product, try to do promotions. But it's one of those things. The tavern's always going to be up and down. We're a private community. Only so many people get in to use the restaurant. We're relying upon the community to support it. Our goal is to provide a good product. We want the support. In October, we had the biggest revenue month ever in the history of the tavern. People supported it. November's been a little slow because of the next item I'm going to talk about. But really, I think we've turned the corner. We're going good. But I still did have a lady come into my office the other day and tell me that she hates the new tavern, that she liked the oxtail and the exotic food, and we need to bring Chef Michael back. So you can't win one way or another. It's one of those things, but we try our best. And we hope that it is a good amenity, that we can produce that, and it just relies on the community to support it. And so we're always looking for feedback, but our intentions are good when it comes to the tavern. The next one, and I did put a slide in, but I don't want to talk about it, our recent computer gaffe. As I sent the information out, and saying this, being transparent doesn't mean I have to tell the community everything. We were cyber attacked. The FBI, Interpol, GBI, they're all involved in the investigation. There's only so much information I can send out when an investigation is going on. I have spoken too much. I did send out too much information, but people wanted to know, and y'all are stakeholders, and I did want to ensure people that there were protections in place where personal data and financial data isn't shared, and that wasn't leaked. But we have a computer system. We have firewalls. We have safety in our computer system. We have programs just like most people have. But the bad guys are smarter than the good guys. That's the world we live in. They're smarter than we are. We can have all the protections. We are insured, so some of the costs that we have for building the new network will be defrayed with it all. And they had a forensics team to look at it. They investigated every server we have, and they know how they got in and what they got and everything. And look, We're a small operation. I don't have an IT person on staff. We have a company that runs our IT program. We could spend a whole lot more money if we had an IT program like all the governments and the CIA. But hey, they get hacked too. So, you know, it's just one of those things. It's how much you put into it to protect what you got. Fortunately, we have Jonas, which is the service that runs our financials and our accounts and everything. Well, they're pretty smart. They got a business to where you have to pay money and have an account through them in order for their program to work. If somebody hacks into their program and doesn't have a Jonas subscription, they can't get any of the data. So when we got hacked, they tried to get the Jonas data, but it didn't mean anything to them. It was all those numbers and letters that come up that you can't read anything. So we feel very, very safely that no personal data was leaked for anything. This was a professional hit. It might have had some local ties to it, so when people send me emails saying, well, we got 20 hacker experts that live in this community and 99% of the community is computer experts, you need to let so-and-so look at your network. Well, I have the keys to the castle and I protect who gets the keys. I just don't let anybody into the network. So we were held ransom. They demanded 2 Bitcoin, which is $188,000, to give us all of our data back. They did show us all the computer files that they got, and it was old information. A lot of it was old information, really didn't mean much. On the dark web is Buddy's 5-year white plan that the community got. On the dark web was financial documents from 2018, which are open to the community and our tax world and everything. So we didn't really feel like got anything. We wiped the servers clean. We built a new network and a new program. It's back operating. We were down for 2 weeks. It was inconvenience. I appreciate all of you working with us. But we've got a new network. We've got some new controls in for passwords. We got the multi-authentication. We've got a new malware, heavier firewall program in place. Not to say we won't get attacked again, but you know, we're a little bit stronger than we were before with what we had. So, you know, feel safe in that. We're still working through the process of it all. But with the good comes the bad, and it happened and we worked through it. And I'm not a computer expert, but we do have computer experts, and we manage that. 2025 outlook. We're getting ready to spring into a new year. What's going to happen in Bent Tree in 2025? Internal renovation of the cottage. No, we're not going to completely gut the place and start over, but we are going to tear out the flooring and put new subflooring in. We're going to put new vinyl flooring in there. We're going to renovate the kitchen as far as tearing out that front window where it'll open it up. We'll still have kitchen counter space. It'll be more of a catering kitchen. It'll have a coffee machine, a microwave. We won't really have refrigerators and ovens and things like that. It'll just be more of an event side, but you'll be able to have your events in there. We're going to have a pocket door that leads to the bathroom, and the bathroom will be ADA accessible going in. We're going to have some new lighting. We're going to have some more indirect lighting, so you can have the strong LED overhead lighting if you want it, if you need it. If not, it'll be a little bit better lighting to create an atmosphere in there. And it'll have a new HVAC system, so it'll have some more climate control in there. Comfortable meeting space. The library will stay as it is in the back side of the building. And so improvement to that facility. So as good as that picture looked last year of the external renovation that we did to the cottage, if you've been to the 19th hole, that building's in bad shape. That's a picture of the siding. It's rotted. And so next year we're going to replace the siding with the hardy plank. The same thing we did on the cottage, we'll be putting on the 19th hole. So it'll have a nice, fresh, new look, appearance to it all. And it'll make the stairway look better. We'll be doing painting, sealing and painting on the indoor tennis courts. We'll still have 2 tennis courts, but we'll also have it lined for multi-pickleball courts where we'll bring the temporary netting in, but the permanent lining will be down there. It'll make that building look very sharp. This is hole number 11 on the golf course. You probably never noticed this because it's a bridge you drive over, but it's about to sink. beautiful stream, but you never notice that. We're going to repair both those culverts in there and put a new bridge over top of that for safety purposes and water flow purposes. But we're going to do the 5,000 linear feet of water line replacement. We're still on Tamarack Drive. We'll be going from Hummingbird Lane up to Stone Ridge Court. If y'all ever been on Stone Ridge Court, anybody ever been on Stone Ridge Court? It's all rock. It's all hill. It's going to be a lot of work to bore up through there, but we're going to get that water line up through there. It's been a long time coming. Road paving. We have money in the budget next year to continue with our process. Milling, sealing, top coating, striping. It'll be the same quality project that we did last time, which has held up very well. The area that we're focusing on this year is the Oglethorpe Mountain Road area. I'm going to start paving more regionally so we can get the best bang for our buck, where they can come in and do one area at a time. The reason that Oglethorpe was the area chosen was I took 7 areas of the community. I looked at the roads with the worst condition rating, the most houses, and has water line been installed along those roads. The last thing I want to do is put into a new road and then have to come in and put a water line. So Oglethorpe area met all the criteria of, it had the lowest condition rating, it had 47 houses it affected, and it had all the water lines already in. So that's why it's going first this year. But we do have 6 other areas that, as we have money, we'll continue to look at those areas. So we've got a budget. We're going to go out to bid here early in 2025, get the most bang for our buck, and hopefully have paving take place sometime April to June or July is where we'll do it this year. Golf course irrigation. Our golf course is one of our major assets. We have an irrigation system. We have a pump that goes from Lake Tamarack that does the backside. We have a pump on hole number 7 at that lake that does the front side. Those pumps are 25 years old. They're failing. We can't get parts for them anymore. If we ever went into a drought, we would lose our fairways and our greens. Big problem. So the board has given us funds. It's a 2-year process. This year we're going to replace the motors and the pumps in our pump houses. So we'll have pretty much a new engine running our irrigation system. Next year we'll replace the valves and the heads for that. So in a 2-year process, we're going to shore that up. It's about a $260,000 project. All in all, so that's why we're splitting it over 2 years. But it is important because it would be very, very expensive and very bad if we lost our greens. And we are susceptible to drought around here, as you know. Okay, this is a new thing. It's been looked at before, but something we found now. It's a new unit that we're going to get. It is a pull-behind leaf unit. And as you know, our staff goes in and digs out ditches and leaves and everything, and it's a slow process because it's very, very inefficient the way we have to do it. This will make it efficient. We've got 47 miles of roads in our community. If we have culverts on both sides, that is 94 miles of roads. We can get those ditches cleaned up much faster. With this unit, it's a pull behind. It'll suck the leaves right out of it. So we'll have staff that'll go in front and take out rocks and sticks, and then we'll be able to suck the leaves up, mulch it, and dump the leaves. We do hope that it's an efficient process to where we get more culverts cleaned out over the year, especially in the dry periods that we had this year. So we look forward to this new piece of machinery. We're going to continue with Brian and recommendation of Lake and Wildlife with the stream restoration program. Next year we're looking at Rocky Creek and Sally Doss Creek, and those will be the final 2 to get us into play. Rocky Creek, I had to be educated. I had no clue where Rocky Creek was. Dr. Levine's pond, private pond that he has, Rocky Creek leads from it into the marina area. And so Dr. Levine has done some work this year on his pond to secure his dam, to lower the water level a little bit, so we won't have any washout there. We have a new pipe that comes out that discharges into Rocky Creek, And once we secure the banks of Rocky Creek, we hope to keep some of that sediment out of the marina area. Club Tamarack access path. This is what you see right down here. For those of you who like to use the lower pool, it's hard to carry a cooler down there and hard to get there. As you can see, some people have tried to take their golf cart down there. It has created ruts. The septic lines for this building go out right through those ruts. So we can't permanently pave or put a structure on there, but we are going to come through this year and in-house, and we'll put an edging with crush and run on there, so it'll create a way for golf carts to get down there. It won't be an access or parking path. It'll be if you need to get something down to the patio for the stage or something down to the pool, you can take your items down there and drop them off. So the board's going to have their retreat coming up here on January 7th and 8th. Look forward to our new members of our board and working another year with the board of directors. Create new initiatives for this year. I work off initiatives, the board works off initiatives. It's a great pairing for what we're going to do. Economic development and impact is a big goal of what we have coming up for this year. We have all the lots from the land bank. The LAD committee is working on combining those, getting septic approved, so we have some buildable lots in the community. We have the 28 acres, which we're working at looking to go with the developer to build a 55 plus community. Once we have those plans, it'll come to the residents for a vote. There's still a lot of work to do to get that plan put together. There's a lot of dirt that has to be moved. There are community septic issues. It's completely doable. It's just a matter of how it's going to be done, how much it's going to cost, how much it's going to look like, what the impacts are going to be. And so we're taking that step by step to get to the community to roll that out. And we hope to do that sometime in 2025. External marketing, as far as private paths and for our community, is a big initiative for what we're doing in 2025 as well. And then, of course, I didn't put it on there, but the lake dredging plan is something we're going to get a little more aggressive about in doing for 2025. So that is kind of where we're going, Bent Tree. I'm sorry it took a while, but hopefully it was interesting and informative to everybody. Happy New Year as we go into a new year. I don't know how far we are for time. It's always dangerous to open it up for questions. I'll be glad to do that if you want.
Certainly, if you have the time, Jim.
Yeah.
There's some questions. You all right?
The stables, please. What's going on?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. The stables, the board has voted to terminate the contract of Kiev running the stables. That will terminate effective December the 31st. You have not heard any information about it because Kiev was running a business there, and he's running it through December 31st. I don't want to send information out that's going to hurt his business, so nothing has been said about it. He has sold some of his horses. He's still doing trail rides through December 31st. At that time, one of the initiatives for 2025 is the board is going to put together a committee to look at the viability of the stables and that property. Will it remain a stables? I don't know. I don't know if it's a viable business to continue running there. We're at a crossroads at Bent Tree to figure out if that's an amenity that we want to keep or we want to do something else with that property. It's wide open. Nothing's been determined right now, but we do want to take a good look at it. The equestrian business is a tough business. They're going out of business. It's an expensive business to run. Does Bent Tree want to be back in that business? Do we want to go back a contractor route? Is it viable to go back a contractor route? There's just a lot of questions that need to be answered with it. So I'm not trying to be deceiving or anything. We're going to close the stables down. We're going to continue to maintain it, so it's not going to go to pot. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with it, and then we're going to do it right. And we want it to be financial sustainable for the future. We want it to look good. If we're going to put stables back in there, there's a lot of money that needs to go into those facilities to make them look better, make them functional, make them safe. And that's going to need to be done before we get someone else in to run those. So it's one of those problems that we need to look at. But as a community, we'll come together, we'll fight, we'll figure it out, and we'll move on. That's pretty much hard, honest truth. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Jim, on that same line, do we have enough land down there for adequate pasture? That's one. And number two, do we have any sort of impact study of how many equestrian-minded folks we have here? Like, if we had a full functional stable, how many of our residents would be using it? Do you
Yes,
know?
sir.
Have any idea?
Yes, sir. I'll try to answer both those the best I can. First of all, that's a rock quarry. That stable's is built on top of a rock quarry. Under the dirt that you see on the surface is rock. It's hard to grow grass on rock. We could bring in a lot of soil and plant grass. Would it maintain? Probably not, especially with horses grazing on it and eating on it. I've been told by several horse experts, you can't have a pasture without grass. So, looking at it as a businessman, I'm a businessman, yeah, that's a tough sell. But horses are resilient and they've lived there long enough so they can continue to live there. That's the flip side of the coin. We have multiple pastures so we can keep multiple breeds or brands of horses. I understand horses are mean, they don't like each other. You got to separate them, kind of like humans, you know. So yeah, that does lead to me a question: is do we have the adequate stable and space for stables? Second of all, is if we're operating stables, how do we want it to operate? Do we want it to be trail rides? Do we want it to be boarding only? What business model does it take to be sustainable to do that? You know, if we went with a full boarding model, they told me that 8 to 10 horses is what, for the land that we have, what you should keep in there. Okay, so we come in and we operate a business to do boarding, and we take 8 horses, and we open it up to residents. Okay, which 8 of you want your horses in there? Okay, and we do a contract with the 8 of you, and we keep your horses. Well, there's 2,500 people that live in Bent Tree. We're serving 8 people. Do y'all feel good with your assessment money being spent taking care of 8 people's horses? I mean, so you have that battle as well. I mean, it is one of those things where we just need to figure it out. We just, yeah.
Are there any other ideas on the table of how to use that land if we abandon the stable?
Well, yeah, you know, I get a lot of emails, so I get a lot of ideas. A skate park, a nature park, a health club, a storage area, because if we use the 28 acres, you know, people going to store some stuff. What's an alternative for that? So yeah, I've heard the gamut. There's a lot of ideas. It's common property, usable property. Could we do something better with it? Is there a better business plan? Yeah, I don't know. But the board's going to put together a committee, not just of horse people, of a lot of different people, and we'll do the same thing Bent Tree's always done for 50 years to figure out where we go. Now, as far as horse people go, we did do the assessment survey of the community. You know, the equestrian lovers and equestrian users were low. I mean, I came from a Parks and Recreation background. We do a survey in the community, you get 1% of people that use it. You know, 80% of the people like walking trails and like to walk. 1% of the people like horses and do horses. Horses aren't for everybody. It is a small group. It's a loud group. It's a passionate group. It's an expensive group. But the numbers showed in our survey that the numbers here really aren't that big. So, something we're going to have to work out. Ken.
Yeah, the question is, what's the relationship with the Saddle Club, and is that a revenue source? Do they pay to use our property?
So the Saddle Club is a separate entity from the stables themselves. It is an organization of about 80 people, and I believe 30-something are residents. They do pay dues to the Saddle Club. In the past, they built the arena that was there, and they do some maintenance to the arena over the years for that. With that, they have an agreement. We just have a special agreement. It's a special use agreement that they can use the facilities. We don't generate a whole lot of revenue from them. Just pretty much what they put back into the maintenance of it and the donation to the stables themselves. It's a small level agreement.
Insurance.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they have their own charter and how they use it.
What's the status of deer call? We seem to see more and more deer, and my understanding is that the last survey found even more deer than we had before. Eldon gave us a report on it earlier in the year, and the numbers are going too high.
Yes, sir. We have a wildlife management plan at Bent Tree. It's my job to make it happen. I don't believe in culling as the natural culling of mass killing of setting up deer and killing deer. But the wildlife in the community is being managed on a plan. We don't really disclose the results of it. It is happening. It's happening based off of the plan. And the counts are rising. We had a good spring last year. It was nice and warm. There are plenty of deer out there, but they are being managed.
Regarding the hacking, does our insurance cover the ransom?
Yes, for the hacking, we did have insurance that covered that. If we were going to pay the ransom, we would have to pay that ourselves. I refuse to pay that. Hopefully nobody will ever steal my kids. But no, we didn't do the ransom. We just decided to move on, build a new network, and go on. The insurance does cover the rebuilding of the network, some revenue lost, like the revenue we lost at the tavern. We will get some back. It'll cost us our deductible with that. We're still working through the insurance company to try to recover some of those funds.
Go ahead.
I've heard talk of increasing the Vista Pruning back here to open up the lake. Is that in the works?
Yes. In the budget process, we looked at Vista Pruning out back behind here. The cost to do that and mulch it all up was $60,000. And in doing that, we weren't guaranteed a view of the golf course of the lake from here. So that was one of the cuts that the board decided to make, that it just really wasn't worth the money to do that. We do want to do some of it internally ourselves if we can to get to the low stuff, but just the impact of $60,000 just wasn't on the cards.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say you're doing a great job, and we do appreciate you.
Thank you.
And glad you're here. Hope you stay another 30 years.
Well, I made it through my first 2-year contract, and they've got me locked up for a couple more years, so I'm excited to be here and came here for a challenge, and y'all have not disappointed.
A lot of people lost money on the bet that you'd stay 2 years, but that's okay.
Good. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am.
Do we know the results of the voting yet?
We don't. The voting closed yesterday,
Okay.
so those results will be sent out this week. No, ma'am. We should have them out early this week. Assessments are coming out early this week too, so Merry Christmas. Art. Yes, the sluice gate at the dam, as you know, we put a trash rack over it. We exercised it last year. It opened. We sandblasted. It was good. We exercise it annually. We don't open it too far, but we opened it and it is working. It's not rusted shut, so we're good on that end. We have solved a problem that Big Canoe has not. All righty, I think we're good. Thank you. I appreciate the invite. Thanks for enduring me.